We like to think our lives are just a series of choices we make. But what if there's something else going on? What if, just beneath the surface, there are these hidden rhythms, these invisible patterns that are guiding everything, from our own bodies to entire societies? Today, we're going to dive into these powerful, unseen forces that just might be shaping our world. I mean, just think about your own day for a second. That craving for coffee you get in the morning. That slump that hits you right around 3 p.m.? That's not random, right? This question, it gets right to the heart of our very first hidden rhythm, one that's ticking away inside every single one of us, right now. So, where are we getting all this? It's all coming from this source right here. And what's really interesting is that it lays out two totally different ideas about rhythm. The first one is a well-known scientific process happening inside our bodies. And the second, well, that's a much more, let's say, controversial theory about a rhythm happening in our societies. All right, first things first, let's zoom in on us, on the individual. We need to talk about the body's hidden clock, this tiny, microscopic metronome that's basically setting the pace for our entire day. So what is this thing? Well, it's called the circadian rhythm, and the name itself kind of gives it away. It's Latin for around a day. And that's exactly what it is, a roughly 24-hour cycle that's hardwired into pretty much all living things. We're talking plants, animals, and of course us.
So, what's this clock actually doing? What's on its to-do list? Well, pretty much everything. It's the master conductor of our internal orchestra. It tells us when it's time to sleep and when it's time to wake up. But it also runs the show for releasing hormones, it manages our body temperature, and it directs a whole bunch of our other daily functions. It's like the invisible CEO of you.
Okay, so this rhythm is a pretty big deal, right? It's fundamental. But that brings up a really important question. What happens when we mess with it? What happens when that internal clock starts to break down?
And yeah, the answer is, it's pretty serious. The source points out that when this rhythm is consistently thrown off, it's not just about feeling a little tired or jet-lagged, it's linked to a higher risk of some major health issues, things like obesity, diabetes, and even serious mental health conditions like depression and bipolar disorder. It just goes to show how crucial it is to keep this natural rhythm in sync.
Okay, so hold on to that thought. We've established that we as individuals are basically run by this biological rhythm. So that naturally leads to a much bigger, kind of wild idea. What about a societal rhythm? I mean, really think about this for a second. If you have billions of people and each person has their own internal clock, when they all come together, could a collective rhythm emerge? Could groups of people actually synchronize in a way that affects everybody? This is the moment in our explainer where we pivot from hard biology to a really fascinating and debated social theory. And that question leads us right to the second big idea from our source, something called the Maharishi effect. It's a theory that suggests, maybe there is a synchronized collective rhythm, and that it can have some pretty profound effects. So what is it exactly? Well, the core idea is this. If you can get a small but significant number of people in one area to all practice transcendental meditation together at the same time, it doesn't just help them. The theory claims it creates this sort of field effect of peace that radiates outward and actually influences the behavior of everyone else in that society for the better. The whole point, according to the theory, is to generate things like peace, happiness, and creativity on a massive scale. It's a huge claim for sure, and the source does note that this idea has been studied quite a bit, though often by scientific and research groups who are, let's just say, already supporters of the theory. Okay, so theory is one thing, but what about putting it to the test? Well, that's exactly what our source dives into next, with a really famous case study, the Washington experiment. All right, so picture this. The setting is Washington, D.C., the summer of 1993. And at the time, the city was struggling with a really high rate of violent crime. That's the backdrop. So over that summer, about 4,000 practitioners of this meditation technique came to the city. They flew in from all over the world, gathered in large groups, and just meditated together, day in and day out. And their mission? Man, it was bold. They didn't keep it a secret either. They publicly announced their goal beforehand. They predicted that their collective meditation would cause a measurable, significant drop in the city's violent crime rate. They were trying to prove the Maharishi effect right then and there. So what happened? Well, according to the study that analyzed the whole thing, this was the number that came out of it, a reduction of 23.3%. So to be clear, the source reports that the study analyzing the data from that experiment found a 23.3% decrease in violent crime during those 2 months. Now, for the people who believe in this effect, this was huge. It was like their smoking gun.
But it's super important to note that these claims are highly debated and are definitely not widely accepted by mainstream science.
So this is kind of where we're left. On one hand, you have the concrete science of our internal circadian rhythm, a clock that we know is absolutely critical to our health. And on the other hand, you have these theories, like the one tested in Washington, proposing a collective rhythm that could shape society itself. It leaves us with a pretty fascinating question to chew on. We know for a fact our internal world is run by rhythm. So how much could our collective rhythms be quietly shaping our world?